Governor, you had your announcement on Thursday. You were flanked with a bunch of American heroes. You got a whole bunch of them in Perry with you today. What does that mean to you as you launch your candidacy?
We owe everything in this country's history, and I will suggest to you the future of this country, to men and women who are willing to go into harm's way to maintain our freedom. So to recognize them, to celebrate them, the 71st anniversary of the start of the liberation of the European continent, D-Day, a very appropriate, there's a lot of different messages being sent today, but the most important one is that we salute these great American heroes who have served us so well.
Do you think when you look back at 2012, more general election than the nomination process, I mean, do you think the Republicans kind of dropped the ball a little bit on the whole, embracing the military? I remember watching the national convention, and the Democrats actually did a pretty good job of it, and it really wasn't a focus on Republicans. Do you think that, we need a candidate that can bring that coalition back together?
Well, I'm not going to look backwards.
Sure.
But looking forward, I think it is important for someone who is not only very knowledgeable about what being in the military is all about, but respectful of them, understanding that economics, so that you can have a strong military, those two things are at the real base of what this country has to be focused on. So an individual that is knowledgeable of and actually a great supporter of the military, I think it's very important for us to lay out to the American people and say, listen, there's two things in your life you really care about. One is being able to have a good job to take care of your family. The other one is to live in safety in your community. And basically, whether it's securing our border, whether it's having a strong military, all that really resonates with the bulk of the American people. From time to time, they need to be reminded of it. That, listen, we're living free because there were people willing to step into harm's way, some of them to give up their tomorrows for our todays.
This was a theme, I remember covering you, I think in maybe Jefferson or one of these other towns, and you brought some of these people in last time. But it was a theme you introduced kind of midway through your campaign. You're starting out with it this time. Is that purposeful?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's very important. One of the things we want to project is that not only do I have an economic record that is unquestionable, the 12th largest economy in the world that I had the great privilege of being the chief executive officer of, and 1.5 million jobs created from the end of 07 through 2014. Nobody touches that in our field. And there's quality men and women in our field, but nobody economically gets close to that. And outside of Lindsey Graham, I'm the only person in that field that's worn a uniform in the country. So those are the two things that you're going to hear from us day in and day out. That you got to have a strong economy, you got to have a strong military, and I've got a record, I think, that's unassailable in both of those.
You were the governor of Texas for 14 years, long time. Is it difficult not being in office, especially as your state is dealing with natural disasters and flooding? How is that? I've been fascinated just thinking about interviewing you and everything that's going on with Texas. How do you deal with that?
There are really capable individuals in Texas, the governor, the lieutenant governor,
sure.
But more importantly, the people of Texas. The first responders, they're the ones that have trained up over the last years to become, I think, the best first responder group, the best emergency management people in the country. We've been forced to, frankly, because of the hurricanes, because of the odd events like the space shuttle falling out of the sky, Ebola coming onto the shores of America and coming into Texas. All of those are extraordinary experiences that we've had, and expenses as well to the state. But the fact is, I'm quite comfortable that the foundation that's put in place there, I'm proud of the men and women I've had the opportunity to work with, but we got good leadership in the state.
So, sometimes we think of, Texas governors make good presidential candidates because it's a big red state. But is it also unique in the sense of, you mentioned the space shuttle, you border, Mexico, all of that. Do you think that there's more than just, a big state, big economy, red state? Just the experience of being governor of a state like Texas, do you think it's unique?
I do. I think it is unique. And what's unique about it, or what I think makes me unique is that the record is there for people to look at. If you want to live in a place where you get to keep more of what you work for, keep more of your money, if you want to live in a place where the regulatory climate is fair and predictable, where a legal system that doesn't allow for oversuing, where we made great progress in our public schools. For instance, we went from 27th in the nation in high school graduation rates to second highest in the country. If you're Hispanic living in Texas, you live in the state that has the #1 high school graduation rate. Not a better way to tell someone you're going to succeed in life than graduating them from high school. So that experience and that big economy, 12th largest economy in the world, I mean, this is not insubstantial. I mean, this is a really big place that matters. There's always something broken or about to be broken. You have to deal with a lot of challenges. But, you know, I love Texas. I love being the governor, but it was time for me to step away. And
Sure. Political question for you, because you probably get those all the time too. Look, we've had there's been some candidates who've spent a lot of time kind of harping about these debate rules and you know, limiting the field of people who can be on the debate stage. Haven't really seen, you know, you comment too much on there. I mean, are you pretty confident that you're going to make the threshold to be included in these debates, or what's your thought process on that?
we have a very capable, smart, articulate group of men and women that are at this point in time, and there's going to be more added to that. I'm comfortable that record and experience will carry the day when Americans really focus on who do we want to be leading this country after what have been 8 years of a young, inexperienced United States Senator and the economic travails that we find ourselves in, the absolute chaos that we see in the world because of his inexperience. I think an experienced, thoughtful, military background leader is going to have a pretty nice cachet to it.
So everyone assumes if you're the nominee, you'd be running against Hillary Clinton. Is that a matchup you think favors you, or, you know, the media thinks that, you know, she's the 800-pound gorilla in the race? How do you view that you stack up against her?
I'm not even sure Hillary will be the nominee for the Democrats with the challenges
Sure.
that are showing up with the Clinton Foundation, with you know, her Benghazi issues, with her transparency issues. You know, we'll wait and see if she is the opponent. I feel very comfortable sitting on the stage and talking about the issues that are important to the American people.
And then finally, just kind of your approach in Iowa this time. I mean,
I will be here often.
well, you've been here a
Think
lot.
about it. In 2011, I basically parachuted in here late.
Well, you hadn't even been here until August.
I had been here a couple of times in the 2008 campaign cycle. So what I really learned about Iowa, and this is incredibly important, you have to spend a lot of time in Iowa. Whether it's 2 people or 2,000,
Right.
you come to Iowa often and you listen, and I enjoy that. I mean, Iowa's been a great place. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be the only person on the stage with an agriculture degree. So whether we're sitting in a cornfield talking about how to be able to sell this corn around the world and open up those markets and make sure that the Iowa agriculture producer is being able to get the best price that they can, or whether it's in a boardroom where I'm talking to you know, a John Deere executive about how to lower the corporate tax rate and make this country be more competitive by lowering our regulatory burden. I'm comfortable doing that, and the people of Iowa, I mean, I feel right at home here.
So you're starting to know your way around. You don't need the GPS anymore.
I promise you, we'll be able to drive from where we're going today to the next stop without a lot of help.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking some
You're
time
welcome.
out.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
It's good to be here. Thank you, sir. Godspeed.